All right, it's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. Special guest today. She's a therapist, life coach, serves as the CEO of Heal Her 2 Foundation. We've got the one, the only, Lakeisha McGee.
Hey, Lakeisha.
Good morning.
And let's continue to applaud. She is a breast cancer survivor. Lakeisha, I was listening the other day, and I heard in 2020, we will have an additional 200,000 women that will be diagnosed with breast cancer. When I heard that, I said, my God, I had no idea. We need to save lives, girl.
Lakeisha, let's go back. Tell us your story. We're saying that you're a breast cancer survivor. How did this come to be? When did you find out you were diagnosed? Let's talk about that.
So first of all, I want to say thank you all for having me today. I appreciate it so much. I feel a sense of pay it forward because when I found out that I had breast cancer in 2018, I feel like I was a little negligent to myself. I had been doing so much for everybody else that I was neglecting my own self when it came to checking out this bleeding nipple that I had. I had a bleeding nipple. And I didn't really know it was bleeding, but I saw the brown spots in my bra and I was like, well, what is this? Or am I hitting my nipple against something or what? So when I finally, after the summertime shy, because I'm from Chicago, after the summertime of having a great time, I went home and I went to the doctor. And of course, they were alarmed because not only was it bleeding, I had a knot in my chest that was like huge. So alarmed they were, and they sent me for a mammogram and then an ultrasound. And then they were like, you need a biopsy. So I had done a little research myself before time. And I knew that if my nipple was bleeding, it was either A, a nursing mom, which I was not, B, some type of infection, or C, breast cancer. So I kind of had prepared myself for the worst. And it was breast cancer. And not only did I have one lump in my breast, they found 3. So 3, one was in my chest wall. One was like huge, and then one was underneath. There was 3. So there was no way that they could save my left breast because I wouldn't have had enough tissue for them to try to save it. So this was November the 7th of 2018.
Lakeisha, how long did you walk around before you went to the doctor and you were bleeding?
So once again, I didn't know it was blood, Sasha. I know that sounds very ignorant, but I didn't know. I just knew I would see this little brown thing on my bra, and I was like, what is that? So I was thinking, did I hit it or something? And I can remember at least 6 months. But here's the even crazier part, Sasha. This one lump that was in my breast, it had been there for at least 3 years. And I was getting a mammogram every year. And my mammogram was saying I was clean every year.
It's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. Went inside the party poll at 888-909-1514. She's a cancer survivor. She's an author, and she's a life coach, Lakeisha McGee.
Were you self-examining yourself? That's what I wanted to know. Were you doing self-examinations? As I remember as a young man, my mom always, doing that and the importance of that. Is that something you was doing prior to what happened with your nipple?
I wasn't, but I did feel that lump there. And just once again, being ignorant, not really paying attention to it. I had moved from Chicago to LA, so I really just had so much going on that even though I was going to the doctor, getting pap smears and things of that nature, I still never addressed this lump that was there because I was getting mammograms and they were saying I was okay. Just ignorance. And that's why I'm pushing so hard now for women to go and get checkups. If you feel anything, if it's anything that's out of the ordinary, any redness, any inverted nipples, any stains, go get checked out because I could not be here.
Did you think for a second that, did anyone ever tell you that maybe it's fatty tissue? Did you think that it was just fatty tissue, something that was benign, or what?
I didn't think nothing, Rick.
Was there pain there or anything? Or
every now and then I would get a pain. This is what I'm saying. I was just really being ignorant. And as much as I go to the doctor for a toenail, for this and the other, I really need my butt whooped because I should have gone sooner. Had I gone sooner, they probably would have caught it at stage 0 versus stage 2, almost 3.
Right.
So your left breast was removed?
I had a double mastectomy. I had them both removed, but the left one would have totally had to go. There was no way they could have saved it.
Wow.
So what was it like for the family? You're a mom of 4. What was it like when you had to tell your children, especially your younger children?
Well, the baby didn't really understand. She just knew when mommy, after chemo, wasn't feeling well and I'm laying on the floor, she'd get the pillow and lay on the floor with me. So she just, did what kids do when their parents, are not feeling well. My daughter became more protective and like a mom, like, okay, we got to do this, got to do this. My middle son, who's really my protector too, he was in school his senior year and he'd already left school for a senior year when I moved to California. He left school to come and transition with me to make sure I was okay. He wanted to leave school again. I was like, no, this is your senior year. You're graduating. You're staying at school. Now, the difference, my oldest son, who is like, whenever I'm hurting or, feeling down, he's the one that's always like, Mom, you're a great mom. You're the best. I'm going to raise my kids like you. He pulled away. He was like, Mom, he totally pulled away. He would call and check, send money, do all of that stuff. But as far as physically being here, he couldn't do it. He was here when I had the surgery. But as far as like chemos and things, he would just call and check. He was like, Mom, I can't be there. He's like, you are my superwoman, the strongest woman I know. And to see you this vulnerable, he just was unable to do it. My mother was here. My mother came, she took care of me the whole time. And my mother's always the caring person. She took care of my dad when he died from cancer. And then after I got well, or while I was sick, her father was battling cancer. So she had a tough choice, go take care of my daughter or stay and take care of my dad. God. So because I was sicker than him at the time, she took the time and came and took care of me. And then as soon as I was able to get a little better, she would go home and check on my grandfather. And she was just blessed enough to be there when he did pass and take care of him too.
We got more with Lakeisha McGee coming up inside the party poll at 888-909-1514. It's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're talking to Lakeisha McGee. She's an author and she's a life coach. 888-909-1514.
What are you saying to your daughter? How old is your daughter? What do you say to her now and self-examine? And is she doing that now? I don't know how old she is.
She's 15 and my other daughter is 8. So the 15-year-old knows that we will, as well as my sons, I'm trying to encourage them, go get tested now because I had breast cancer. So my daughter knows that you'll be getting the check when you're in your 20s, your 30s, because I can't wait for you to be 40 to find out that you're sick. And breast cancer, women are being affected even younger every day. So for her, it's we have to take care of ourselves. You have to get a self-examination. And she's on this flight with me. She's watching me advocate for other women. So she's watching everything that I'm doing. She's been a part of when I'm having events and I'm registering, and she's in the mess, right now.
Why do they wait so late? If we're finding out that, they're finding out earlier, is it because younger girls are going through the breast bud stage? And of course, that's going to be something that's going to probably be painful if they heard it. Is that one of the reasons why they're waiting so younger?
Breast cancer is more common for older women. It is. Right. And, it used to be looked at as the older white woman disease, quote unquote. That's what it used to be looked at. So it is more common for women between their 40s, 45s, and 50s and up. But we are seeing younger and younger young women are becoming, they're being diagnosed with breast cancer. Wow. So honestly, I feel like for me, and this is one of the things that I want to try to get past with legislation, I feel like when you start getting pap smears, you need to start getting breast exams. It need to all be in there because the type of breast cancer that I had was HER2 positive, ER, and PR positive, which means estrogen. Mine is fueled by estrogen. So when do young women start having estrogen? When they start having cycles, when they start, their breasts start, budding and growing. It's estrogen. So I just feel like we need to get those as young as possible.
I had a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, and his wife was a breast cancer survivor. And I remember some years ago when she had to have surgery, he was stating to me how bitter she had gotten. She was upset, she was mean, and she was mad. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And he said, I'm trying to be supportive. The kids are trying to be supportive. Is that something is there a way that the families of survivors can be more helpful and know that this is a time that they may not understand how they're going to handle it? I'm sure people handle it different ways.
Honestly, I didn't experience a whole lot of anger, but my mother did get the brunt of everything that I went through. When I was sick, she was there. When I was cranky and snapping, she was there. And the best thing that she did for me was really just be understanding and gave me my space. Because there's not a whole lot she can do. All she can do is offer her support and her love and not get in that entanglement with me because she knows that I'm going through. You know what I mean? And it's hard.
We got more with Lakeisha McGee coming up. She's an author, life coach, and breast cancer survivor. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month with Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. We're talking to Lakeisha McGee. She's a breast cancer survivor. 888-909-1514. Also an author and life coach. With everything that you've gone through, I mean, you've lost your hair. You've had to go through all of it. You've gone, your hair's gone bad. You look great, by the mastectomy and all of that. In the midst of all the pain people see, you found a way to get so many other things accomplished to help a lot of women. Tell us about that.
So I wrote a book. I wrote an anthology.
12 Shades of Breast Cancer Girl.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the #1 new release on Amazon this week.
Is it?
Hey.
Yes.
Nice.
It is. So I took my pain and my lack of understanding for breast cancer and decided that I wanted to help other people. I went to chemo and I had someone with me all the time. I didn't have to go alone. I had friends to fly in from town. I had, friends that I made here, cousins, relatives, my mom. So I had support, but I saw people there week after week who had no one. I knew the financial burden that this thing caused me. I had great friends. My best friend created a GoFundMe and people donated. I mean, complete strangers donated to me. I had people to come in my inbox and say your transparency, because I went live from chemo, radiation. I shared my story. I was very transparent. And because of that, I had other people saying how I was encouraging them, people who weren't going through cancer, just people in general, saying how I encouraged them and how just what could they do and et cetera, et cetera. So that fueled me to continue to go forward. So I created a nonprofit called Heal Her Too Foundation.
Nice.
And that foundation is to help other survivors.
Lakeisha, I just want to ask you this real quick before you go. How often do you have to go back to the doctor now? And did they say it's a chance that it could come back?
There's always a chance for anything, but I'm not claiming it. I'm claiming that I'm healed, whole, and free. But I go back quite often. I go at least every 3 months to get a CT scan so that they can make sure I just had one and came back clean to make sure that nothing has spread or reoccurred. Then you have to see an oncologist. They're doing blood work.
Wow.
So it's not over, and you just don't know when it'll end, how long it'll take. You just have to be patient and wait it out.
All right. Well, her book is called 12 Shades of Breast Cancer, Our Story, Our Way, the anthology of Dr. Lakeisha S. McGee. Thank you so much.
Baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you all so much. I do.
God bless you, love.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story, too.
Thank you.